Good morning. It's good to be with you. We live in a world right now that, in the Christian world at least, we have had a gospel that has majored, that has focused quite a bit on the blessing of people. The good news that blesses us, the will of God to answer every prayer of our hearts. And there's been real value in that, and it's been very important in terms of shifting some things from a harsher gospel that maybe was more predominant, and still in some places can be in some of the aspects or parts of Christianity. But there's a really important adjustment we need to be careful that we maintain when we do that. Because what I've seen then sometimes is that Christians, because that's the gospel we've heard, we start to live our lives focused around that, and we start to look for, a kind of heaven on earth, a life down here that is heaven on earth. And so we want all our ducks in a row. We want, with the goal becomes, the heart desire becomes, well, God wants to bless me. I'm a king's kid, I want to have my children in a good school. I don't want to have to. I don't want any sickness in my house. I'm believing for prosperity. I'm going to have a really nice home and a really nice car, and all those things, And we've got to, we've got to have nice holidays. And I'm going to be a Christian, and I'm going to love God and everything. But there's my personal blessing is important. And I think it's become too important. And I think that's because we have misunderstood or just allowed a transition to take place. And I see this in the way the gospel is preached, and I see the Lord changing this. Because it's not about, let me say it this way, it's not about finding heaven on earth. It's about bringing heaven on earth. And even more so, it's about being heaven on earth. And that might sound like a small change, but in terms of your approach to life and your approach to people, the way you pray, the way you spend your time and your money, it'll change everything. See, you're going to go to heaven if you know Jesus, and you're going to live in a place that is perfection, and it's going to blow your mind. But we make a mistake if we're starting to look for that now, as if our signs of a great Christian life are that everything is just working nicely. I've found that usually, and I think Paul in the Bible is a great example, if you're walking with God effectively, you'll tend to find more trouble than average, more challenge than average, more trial than average, more sacrifice than you might be comfortable with, and more paying a price, if you will, to see somebody else blessed that's costing you something. That's the spirit and the heart that we see in Paul, and it's the spirit and the heart that should be in us as New Testament Christians. So today, I want to ask you to make an adjustment and hold yourself to it. Stop looking for heaven on earth. Don't be worried if everything isn't perfect, or if there are challenges you didn't expect. The greater goal by far is to bring heaven to earth and to be heaven on earth. Being like heaven's fresh breath of life, of healing, of power. Never mind so much if your little bits are just perfect, but think about all those in this earth who today are going to need the love of God, the power of God, who may need to meet Jesus today, who may need not just a kind word, but the actual presence of heaven coming into their life. You're the carrier of that. Don't worry about finding heaven on earth, my friends. Bring heaven to earth. Make that your internal goal, your heart's desire. It'll change the way you live. It'll change your heavenly reward. And it'll make heaven, when you get there, that much more beautiful and sweet. God bless you. Good to be with you today.